Hello, dear friends and supporters of St. John the Divine. This is David Briggs speaking to you from Ascension Memorial Episcopal Church here in Ipswich, Massachusetts. Madge and I have been up here for the past 10 weeks or so during the COVID-19 pandemic, and one of the great silver linings of this cloud has been more or less unlimited access to this glorious organ built in 1973 by C.B. Fisk. That's a company which is really one of the very finest organ builders in the United States, and they're based around about 12 miles from here in Gloucester, Massachusetts. Between 2007 and 2012, we were based here in Ipswich, and this was my regular practice organ, and it's just been the most wonderful experience to come back and create a very close bond with it again. I've had various projects on the go up here for the past 10 weeks, including a transcription of Vaughan Williams' Fifth Symphony and the fantastic Opus 24 orchestral symphony by Louis Vierne. But also about every 2 days I've been posting some very short little improvised miniatures, just to really with one goal in mind, that's to raise people's spirits through improvised music. And Ken Tritle and Ray Nagum very graciously invited me to contribute to this program today. And so I've chosen 3 of these short improvisations. First of all, the most glorious hymn tune, one of the very finest hymns to be written in the 20th century, Ken Naylor's Coe Fen. And then a little homage I made to Maurice Duruflé, the wonderful French composer, organist of Saint-Étienne du Mont in Paris. And finally, a homage to Vaughan Williams, showing my British heritage. Anyway, I hope you'll enjoy these 3 clips. If you do, then do visit my YouTube channel. And there are around about 24 improvisations, I think, which I hope you would find enjoyable. Meanwhile, I hope very much that you'll enjoy these 3 improvisations. Well, hello again from Ipswich, Massachusetts. I'm in the Ascension Memorial Episcopal Church, a beautiful building, actually consecrated in 1883. The architect was the famous James Renwick, who also designed some very famous buildings, the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C., and St. Patrick's Cathedral and Grace Church in New York City. Madge, my wife, and I are here now entering our 8th week during the coronavirus epidemic. And I could not be more grateful for virtually unlimited access to this glorious organ built in 1973 by Charles Fisk. It's an absolutely fantastic instrument to improvise on and to practice, learn notes, and so on. So today I thought I would actually play for you what I think is one of the very finest hymns written in the 20th century, a hymn called How Shall I Sing That Majesty, to Ken Naylor's tune Coe Fen. I think it was William Byrd, the 16th century composer, who said, "He who sings prays twice." And one of the things that I and many of my friends and colleagues I know are really looking forward to is the whole concept of human beings getting together in reality as opposed to on Zoom, which of course is great as well, but actually to be in the same place and singing together. It's one of the most joyful things I think that any human being can do is to combine in this way with other people. So here is Coe Fen on the 1973 C.B. Fisk organ here in Ipswich. And I'm going to play 3 verses with a big crescendo at the end and a bit of an improvisation just to round things off. And I hope you'll find this very inspiring, this sound, this organ. When you think it's actually only got 21 stops, it's pretty phenomenal. Warm greetings from Ascension Memorial Episcopal Church here in Ipswich, Massachusetts, which is a small town around about 28 miles to the northeast of Boston. We've been here around about 8 weeks now during the coronavirus pandemic. And one of the great silver linings about this stay has been virtually unlimited access to the glorious organ in the church, which was made in 1973 by the famous builder from Gloucester, Massachusetts, Charles Fisk. When we lived in Ipswich from 2007 till 2012, this was my regular practice instrument. And I've just completely fallen back in love with it. It's the most spectacular instrument and produces an incredible sound for only 21 stops. One of the major projects that I've undertaken during this kind of enforced sabbatical has been to effect a transcription of the Opus 24 Symphony in A minor, originally for orchestra, by Louis Vierne, the great organist of Notre Dame in Paris. And I've been very much enjoying transcribing this and also learning it both on the Steinway piano in the church and also on the great Fisk organ. As well as the Vierne, I've been enjoying making some small-scale recordings of improvisations in different styles, again, mainly on the Fisk organ, but a couple also on the Steinway. And today, I'd like to present to you an improvisation I made sort of in the style of Maurice Duruflé. Duruflé and his wife, Marie-Madeleine, were the co-titulaires of the organ in the great Parisian church, the Saint-Étienne-du-Mont. And they were kind of an amazing example that opposites attract. Marie-Madeleine was very extrovert, loved giving concerts. Her husband, though, really didn't like the attention very much, and he preferred to remain very quiet and just compose music. He was very self-critical. But the organ music that we have from Duruflé is completely the cornerstone of the repertoire from the first half of the 20th century in France. And of course there's the glorious Requiem that he wrote in 1947, which still remains unsurpassed in that repertoire for choir and organ. So today I thought I would improvise a prelude and using some of the techniques that Duruflé uses in his composition, both in terms of harmonic structure and also form and use of texture. And you can hear in this piece where there's canonic things happening between the right hand and the feet and various other compositional techniques. Anyway, I hope very much you'll enjoy it. Well, hello again from Ascension Memorial Episcopal Church here in Ipswich, Massachusetts. It's an absolutely beautiful early summer's morning here. And I thought I would play an improvisation for you which demonstrates my British heritage. And I thought I would improvise in the style of Ralph Vaughan Williams, one of our very greatest and most original composers. And he was born on October the 12th in 1872 in a beautiful Cotswold village called Down Ampney. And one of his most well-known and beautiful hymn tunes is a hymn tune by that name, Down Ampney. Vaughan Williams was an organist. In fact, he held a position in South London in the 1880s. And I was privileged about 4 years ago to make a recording of the complete organ works of RVW. Most recently, the Vaughan Williams Society has commissioned me to make a transcription of his sensationally beautiful Fifth Symphony. And I'm going to be recording this on the Willis organ at Truro Cathedral in November, God willing. Today, though, I'm going to make an improvisation based on the same hymn tune as I was mentioning earlier, Down Ampney. And it's a very, very beautiful tune. And I've made a prelude. And those of you who know Vaughan Williams symphonies will recognize the horn calls at the beginning of the prelude, which is actually borrowed from the beginning of the Fifth Symphony. Herbert Howells described Vaughan Williams 5 as like a benediction to the whole of mankind. How appropriate that is in these COVID-19 days. On the other hand, the American composer Aaron Copland described Vaughan Williams 5 as like looking at a cow for 45 minutes. Well, all I can say is one extremely good-looking cow. So here is the improvisation on Down Ampney. There's a big crescendo towards the end, and Andrew and Dee in London, I can tell you that the very, very naughty modulation in the middle of the last verse is specially for you. I'm such a naughty toad. What many people don't know is that although RVW died on August 26, 1958, he was well ahead on technology. And last week, I was able to reach him on Zoom. Here's a little bit of our conversation. This is really quite amazing. I can reach Ralph Vaughan Williams on this great new Zoom multi-galaxy software. I wonder, oh my word, there he is. I think he's in my waiting room. Ding. Hello, is that Dr. Ralph Vaughan Williams?
Yes. Hello, Vaughan Williams here. Yes. To whom am I speaking?
Oh my goodness, yes, Dr. Vaughan Williams, it's David Briggs here from the Cathedral of St. John the Divine in New York. How are you?
Ralph Vaughan Williams, absolutely not. Most frightfully common, Rafe, if it's okay. But actually, if you want, you can call me what most of my friends call me, which is Uncle Rafe.
Oh, thank you very much, Uncle Rafe. That would just be great. I so absolutely adore your music. And of course, having been at Gloucester Cathedral, we performed your beautiful G minor Mass many times. Could you just tell us a little bit about that piece?
Oh, yes, G minor Mass. Yes. Not bad, I suppose. A bit of polyphonic twaddle. Because back then, when I was on Earth, I didn't really like God very much, this idea of some sort of extraordinary figure outside of the universe. But well, that's all changed, just in the twinkling of an eye back in August 1958. And I can tell you it's wonderful here.
Well, that's wonderful to hear, Uncle Rafe. About 4 years ago, I had the great pleasure of recording your complete organ works on the beautiful 1912 J.W. Walker organ at the Sacred Heart Church in Wimbledon, including that marvellous piece called the Prelude and Fugue in C minor. Jolly difficult, though.
Oh, absolutely. I wrote it for old Lee, Henry G. Lee at Christchurch. He was really a magnificent organist, but I could certainly never get anywhere near playing that stuff. I mean, I was finding a little bit of a problem getting my feet on the right pieces of wood, Extraordinary.
Well, I've just had the great honour of transcribing your beautiful Fifth Symphony from 1942 as an organ arrangement. Just tell us a little bit about the Fifth Symphony.
Oh, jolly good, jolly good. Yes, well, thank you for doing that. I wrote it, in the middle of World War II, 1942, something like that. And I hate war. Lost a lot of my chums in World War One, and I drove an ambulance, and in World War One and World War Two. But it's just such a frightful waste. So I wrote this piece to kind of soothe people, really. Old Herbie Howells, Herbie, he described it as this is he thought it was a benediction for the whole of mankind. Jolly, jolly nice. Such a good chap, very gifted. One of my better pupils. And that man, Copeland, over in America, apparently he described it as, well, this is like looking at a cow for 45 minutes. I mean, dreadful, really. I didn't even realize they had cows in America.
Well, Uncle Rafe, I've been very busy for the last 8 weeks here in Ipswich, Massachusetts, learning the transcription of your beautiful Fifth Symphony on the really fantastic organ here by Charles Fisk. I think you'd love it.
Yes, I went over to America with Ursula a few times, and were jolly nice people, but they all seem to be full of this awful, ghastly fast food restaurants like McDonald's, I think they'd call it. And people driving these enormous vehicles with 12 cylinders, and I couldn't quite understand why they wear their caps facing backwards. It's extraordinary, but personally, for me, there's just nothing like sitting in the pub in London and just having a good chit chat and reading the Times, and the log fire burning and the nice golden retriever on the floor and a nice pint of beer.
Well, Uncle Rafe, I've been very busy for the last 8 weeks here in Ipswich, Massachusetts, learning the transcription of your beautiful Fifth Symphony on the really fantastic organ here by Charles Fisk. I think you'd love it.
Really, I'm not so sure I'd like it. I mean, for me, there's nothing like a good English romantic organ. I mean, when I was up at Trinity, Cambridge, with Alan Gray, I used to go up and play the organ. Only one thing to do: open diapason number 1, open diapason number 2, open diapason number 3, open diapason number 4, and open diapason number 5, coupled to the open wood on the pedal. And these ghastly Baroque organs, like that thing Downes put in the festival hall, I wrote to the Times about it, said how ghastly I thought it was. I mean, who's ever heard of a Larigot? and that extraordinary pedal stop called the Step Turts. I mean, I think I stood in one of those going over the fields the other day.
Well, I suppose you could say it's a neo-Baroque organ in a way, but it's a real chameleon, and it can play legato sounds really well. But we have all the mutations and all the French-style reeds and all the great mixtures and everything. It's an organ with great pizzazz.
Anyway, do stay safe, keep your 6 feet, won't you? And wear those masks, they're jolly good. And let's just hope that we will start singing again soon. It's, nothing like crowd of humans singing. Okay. Well, as they say in Italy, ciao.